everyone. Today we are here at church, St. Luke in the Fields Episcopal Church to be specific. This church is historically LGBTQ affirming, and we're going to be talking to the Reverend Broderick Greer all about sexuality, gender identity, faith, and religion. So let's go to church.
My name is Broderick Greer. I am curate at Grace St. Luke's Episcopal Church in Memphis, Tennessee, and I am gay.
Tell me about you coming to understand your sexuality and your identity.
I would describe that as the most difficult question of my life. I grew up in a very devout Black missionary Baptist home. Church was always a very important part of my life. I was in church from about 10 every Sunday morning to 1 every Sunday afternoon, and we'd be in church on Wednesday night for Bible study and on Thursday nights for choir rehearsal. Church was just as much a part of my life as eating Frosted Flakes was every day. I remember when I was 6, there was a gospel musician that came through Fort Worth, Texas, where I was born. And my grandmother took me up to her to meet her. And the woman said, "You are going to be a minister." And so I had that sense from a very early age. I realized that I was gay when I was about 5 years old. And when I was 9, I decided that I needed to tell my parents. But of course, that didn't happen until I was 21. I knew that I loved God. I knew in a distant way that God loved me. I mean, I was told that all the time. And I knew that we had a gay man in our church, but basically he was invisible. And in the 90s, when I was growing up, there was a string of musicians and church choir directors who died from AIDS. I just remember as a child going to funeral after funeral and thinking, since I'm attracted to other boys, this will be my fate.
I certainly wasn't in the same position, but I, from a very young age, was told, like, this was wrong, this was bad, God would not be okay with it. My experience was that I never believed it, and so I wonder what yours was. Did you believe it at first?
Oh, absolutely. And I actually ended up being baptized 4 times because I was convinced that if I couldn't pray away the gay, then I could wash away the gay.
Right.
But that did not work. I accepted that I was gay when I was about 19. And in that moment, I realized that I needed to find a way of being faithful to myself and my authentic identity, and also to the church in whatever form that took. I had this sense that, like, if God wanted me to be straight, then God would make me straight.
Right. How was your family during this process?
My family has been supportive. And it's very interesting, kind of the intersection of being Black, religious, gay. There are lots of perceptions that Black people are more homophobic than white people.
I have heard people say those things and make those assumptions explicitly.
Yeah, which is an interesting thing to me, especially given the fact that the gay man that I mentioned earlier in our church, he and his partner are close friends of our family. When my grandmother died last year, they were listed as special sons of my grandmother. To think, that this inherently homophobic Black family has room, not only for me, but for these friends of our family, these sons of our family, is a telling commentary on kind of the state of what it means to be an LGBT person of color. Just as diverse as creation is, with various colors and hues, so is the diversity and beauty and complexity of our individual gender and sexual expressions.
But I can't imagine knowing that
one of the leaders in my faith was LGBTQ.
It is important for me to make it very clear that I am gay and I am a person of faith, and those two things are not in conflict at all.
Yeah, I think that it's boundless in how helpful it is. I mean, for young people, certainly, but also for families, for parents. You know, I mean, my mom would have not even known what to do with herself if she could have reconciled my sexuality with our faith.
For so many years, so many of us were demonized, silenced, erased, and now we are leading flourishing communities of faith. Basically, we're at the center of the story like we always should have been.
Have you seen pushback from within LGBTQIA communities when you say what you do, when you say that you're a person of faith?
Yes, and rightfully so. The church has wounded lots of LGBTQIA people. A lot of people will ask, so does your church know that you're gay? And I'm like, yes, they do. How can they not? And a lot of that is just the one-on-one contact with people, letting them know that our church is a place of safety and a place of affirmation and love. For people who are struggling with their sexual or gender identity, my only message is that they are wholly and completely loved by God, and that their sexual and gender expression and identity are beautiful.
It's like a very emotional thing for me to think about that process of what it feels like to actually be told that you're welcome, and you mean it when you're saying it.
Absolutely.
And the church is meaning it when they say it.
I know of a lot of Episcopal communities that have ads that say, all are welcome, no asterisks. Usually, you know, when churches say things like that, there's fine print. You know, if you're transgender, if you're queer, if you're non-binary. It is a great thing to be able to say that and not have any qualifiers.
Thank you.
Oh, of course, of course.
Everyone at home, you can find Broderick. He's written for The Guardian, Huffington Post. Links are down below. You should follow him on Twitter because he's awesome and always spreading really incredible words. And of course, subscribe to our channel. We are coming at you with new videos every week. Yeah, have a great week.